you.
This is going to be fun.
I think you're mad.
I think you should be in jail. You're an outrage.
I've never heard anything so piffle.
It's a nightmare of primitivism and savagery.
Ian Collins on Talk Radio.
Well, it's a simple question. Why don't we eat dog? It's a free call, 0500 10 53 89. We sat in the office while we were bunging this thing together, and I use that word very loosely as well. We were looking at sort of culinary delights from around the world, including this country, where already we munch on cows, pigs, sheep, duck, goat, goose, pigeon, turkey, rabbit, venison, ostrich, and the list goes on. Nip over to North America, and they're munching on a bit of old caribou there. Moose. Moose is big. Between moose burgers, between two bits of bread, is a fantastic way to spend an afternoon in North America. France, of course, they're at it in all sorts of gastronomic departments. Horse, frog's legs. But not over here. Not when it comes to dog. And there's little or no reason as to why we don't eat dog other than the fact we never really have done. Now, arguably, yonks back, somebody must have done, but there's every reason in this country to eat dog, particularly at the moment. It'll save the meat industry for a start. The meat industry is completely up the wall. We've got pubs that can't sell T-bone steaks. We've got people with farms losing hand over fist because they don't know what to do with the cows. There's a whole bundle of things gone on over the last few months and years in terms of farming rules and regulations that completely mucked up the old farmer. But dog would solve the problem. Wouldn't you just love to munch on a Shih Tzu sausage? Sounds tempting. Some Bernard burger or Chihuahua fajitas. These are great meals, and we should be eating the darn stuff. Free call 0500 10 53 89. There is a multi-million-pound industry that's being ignored out of eating dog. And nobody can furnish anyone with a right good reason as to why we're not already eating it. There's lots of areas that we'll go into in a second as to what we could solve and sort out with dog, but this country should be the first Western country to put it high on the menu. If you look at our quarantine rules in this country, it means we've got the cleanest and most disease-free mutts anywhere in the Western world. We'd be the ideal launching pad for a bit of dog on the menu. And yet folks say, oh no, couldn't eat a dog. Couldn't eat a dog because I've got one. Hello? Methinks I smell hypocrisy in here somewhere. You don't mind munching on an old cow. Some people have got those as pets. Or a pig. They're becoming fashionable to have running around the house. And chicken. No one has a problem anywhere in the world with eating chicken, because chickens are completely useless. Chickens do nothing. So everybody eats them. There's no religious boundaries there. Oh, there's a chicken. What's a chicken do? Nothing. Let's eat the chicken. All those kind of religious arguments against eating pig or cow or whatever, they're all born out of more pragmatic historical reasons and then hijacked by religion along the way. If you go to Korea, of course, where dog is big, of course, on the menu, the reason being is because there's lots of them. But there's loads of dogs over here, but no one's taken advantage of what you could do with dogs. Jack Russell à la orange. Beautiful. Can't think of anything nicer at a restaurant than munching on a bit of old Jack. Free call 0500 10 53 89. To be totally serious, you have to look at the byproducts as well. If our forefathers were to look at what we do with a dog when a dog is no more, you bury it in the garden normally, or there are some crazy bozos churning up pet cemeteries, which I understand was a distasteful film once, which upset many a person. However, they wouldn't have done that years ago. They'd have done something far more practical. Real dog biscuits for a kickoff. Remember those draft excluders that people used to put up against the door? They were usually like a foam thing, usually in the shape of a snake. You could have real ones with Alsatian's tail. Fantastic. Sheep dog hats. Now, you're not telling me that middle-class women would kill for a sheepdog hat. Is that a real sheepdog? Oh, yes, of course it is. There'd be loads of that. Why not? And there's all sorts of other areas we can go into, which we will do over this hour. No one has a problem with eating chickens, because chickens are useless. No one has a problem with eating cows. In France, they eat horse and dog's legs. Frog's legs. And In North America, moose, caribou, whatever you like. It's all there. A multi-million-pound industry to be had out of dog, and yet we don't do it. And nobody can furnish me with a good reason as to why we don't. Free call 0500 10 53 89. The Koreans eat dog. Why don't we? This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for barking.
Talk to Ian Collins. Free call 0500 1053 89.
The moment we hung up, I called you back.
So the vogue in trendy restaurants, of course, at the moment, is to eat snake. You can buy snake, you can buy crocodile. I think some places are now serving monkey. Toasted orangutan. But everybody says you can't do it with dogs. What's going on? We go to London. Jerry, you're on Talk Radio. Jerry, sir. Jerry was there, but he's obviously off having a dog burger or something. Let's go to Bishop Stortford. Ray, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello.
Hello.
If we did eat dog, we'd have to make the whole thing sound more attractive, because when you walk into a supermarket, you don't see signs saying sheep meat and cow meat. You see lamb and beef. So I was wondering what we would call it. Would you call it puppy meat, or how would you make it sound more attractive to get people to eat it?
Well, I suppose you could have a range of puppy meat in the same way as we have veal, don't we? Yeah, veal, isn't it? The young cow. So I suppose it could be a special kind of delicatessen range, maybe dealing in specifically that.
Sort of tails down one end and dog ears and...
Yeah, I mean, there's all of those. There's all of those options. But I think you're right. I think we'd need a name for it.
Yes, we need a name, because I think that's why they don't call meat by their names. Actually, they get a different name, don't they, perhaps to get people to eat it in the first place?
Yeah, rather than say, would you like to buy some cow? They obviously say, would you like to buy some beef or pork, whatever.
I don't think children always associate what you offer them with actually the animals that they see in the fields.
Maybe we could call it mutt.
Yeah.
Mutt meat. Yeah, mutton meat. There's an abbreviation of mutton, kind of.
That's quite good.
Perhaps there's something in there. Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Ray calling from Bishop Stortford. A female Ray who's pretty much in favour of the idea, which does make perfect sense. I defy anybody to come up with a sound, rigid argument that will say, oh no, this makes no sense at any level, because it makes every bit of sense at every single level. We don't eat dog, and there's no good reason why not. We're ignoring a multi-million-pound industry in this country by not eating dog. Let's go to Jay, who's in Leicester. Jay, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello there.
Hello.
What I wanted to say is, I think it's a brilliant idea you've come up with, and because the simple reason it can bring loads of money into this country.
Yeah.
Also, what you can make it into actually a delicacy. I mean, you've got the traditional British fish and chips. You can make it into, like, dog meat. You get what I'm saying? People could come from all over to eat it. It'd give hot dog a new meaning as well, wouldn't it?
Who could resist crispy, aromatic dachshund?
Exactly. That's my point. I don't know why it's not been done already. Say the truth. It's like sitting on a dead market there. They could make loads of money from it.
Well, it's sort of a nation of hypocrites, aren't we, when it comes to the kind of stuff we eat? You know, people get all upset and say, don't eat this, don't eat that. But then, of course, go out and eat, we eat cows and we eat pigs and sheep and...
Exactly. If they can eat all that, what's stopping them eating dogs? I think they should eat cats as well. What's wrong with cats? They can make them into a delicacy as well. You never know.
No, you don't get much meat on them, though, do you?
Yeah, but that's why you make more money from it, you see? Because it's like a rare thing. It's like oysters. You don't get much meat in them, but... You get what I'm saying?
And of course, there are certain rumours that certain establishments are already utilising cats. It's been an urban myth for yonks, hasn't it, that cats go missing around the neighbourhood. Have you seen our cat? No, it's gone. It was last seen heading towards the takeaway over there. It hasn't been seen since. Trouble is, I believe it. Free call 0500 10 53 89. And maybe those bods in the takeaway have got it down to a fine art. Maybe they know exactly what's going on. Maybe they know that people really don't know the difference, and it's just some blind principle that we're all adhering to that means absolutely nothing. There's no substance in it. It all makes perfect sense. Let's go to Preston. Bill, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello, Ian.
Hi, Bill.
This is very sound, They're very sound. I've noticed the calls are all positive.
Yes.
They really are. And I can't think of a better idea. Indeed, due to the lifestyle of these animals, eating and strolling a bit, is the word sedentary.
Sorry?
Is the word sedentary. Like you do, hanging about doing nothing.
Yes.
Well, the meat will be soft, delicious, delicious. And then all these dogs, they say, they couldn't be put down. They haven't put down. they could all be readily absorbed in the pie trade.
Well, that's apt. You see, I'm going to come on to this point in a second. Bill, thank you for your call. I'm going to come on to that point in a second as regards what happens to dogs that are supposedly put down because nobody wants them. Thank you for that. But he sounded as if he was eating a dog, didn't he? Free call 0500 10 53 89. In fact, it'd be great to talk to somebody who's actually tried it. Somebody who's actually given it a whirl. Because I guess it's illegal in this country at the moment. Let's go to the M1. Lee, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello.
Hello.
No, I couldn't do it, Ian.
Why not?
Because, you couldn't eat a dog. It's a domestic pet, isn't it?
What, a bit of bloodhound pudding? You couldn't eat it?
Oh, certainly not. I mean, it's like you were saying about the delicatessen and the puppies and that.
Yeah.
Could you work in the abattoir watching puppies?
No, I couldn't, but I know a man who could.
No, that's not... No.
Yeah, but how do you... Well, but we eat veal and we eat cow and pig and little piglets, and there's nothing cuter than a little piglet. Have you seen the film Babe?
Yeah, but people don't have pets. I mean, I know people do. Some people have pet pigs and cows, but the ratio of pets to dogs...
You know that film Babe? You know where that pig is now? It's been through the entire process. It's been chopped, eaten, and spat out again. If I put that delicately enough.
I couldn't do it, I'm afraid. Not for me.
All right, Lee. Thank you for that. Lee couldn't do it. But is there any good rationale as to why somebody could not eat dog? Who could resist a poodle pavlova? Free call 0500 10 53 89. In Chelmsford, Michael, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello there.
Hi.
I was going to agree with your argument as well. If you think back to the 60s and 70s, they were wearing Afghan coats. They obviously got them off the backs of dogs, so why not eat the rest as well?
Yeah. There's a few wearing them as well, wasn't there?
Well, that's it. I mean, it makes perfect sense, you know. Look at the amount of meat you get off a Rottweiler.
Well, I think that's exactly it. I think that's where the kind of the thought process isn't going far enough in the food industry. It's not just the fact that it would be great for the food chain. It's not just the fact that it would be great to assist farmers and people involved in the meat process to somehow recoup a little bit from this CJD situation where successive governments have lied to farmers and folk in that trade and have had a hard time. You know, folk have lost their livelihood because of this.
Yeah.
It could perhaps recuperate that. It could assist, of course, unemployment in terms of that, but it's the byproducts of these things.
Well, also, on the lighter side, you're just strolling down the pavement and guess what you've stood in? When you see it, you can take the damn thing home and barbecue it as revenge.
Well, that might become an offence.
Wow, only a small one.
I mean, if you were to hop in a field and execute your own pig, you might discover that someone wants to have a word with you about it, of course.
As long as it's your own, it's perfectly legal if it's done humanely, so you could do your own dog, no problem.
Wouldn't you need a licence?
Nope. And on a serious note, as far as I understand the EEC law, if it's for home consumption and it's proved to be slaughtered in a humane way, it's perfectly legal to do your own home slaughter.
Is it?
Yep.
Blimey. I think I better buy a book on that. Nice talking to you, Michael.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Free call 0500 10 53 80. You have to think about the byproducts of this as well. And more importantly, organ transplantation. They're experimenting. Was it a pig's heart or something, wasn't it? They put into a human. And apart from the snorting, apparently they're doing quite well. So there's no reason why we can't go down that kind of path as well. I don't know which particular organs are compatible from mutt to human. There's got to be some, hasn't there? But then there's the products as well. Think of the handbag you could make from parts of a Great Dane. Free call 0500 10 53 89. And while on the subject of dogs and the dogs that are put down, and there are many of them, every single day in this country, dogs are put down for whatever reason. We came up with this plan on the Late Show, which I'm not supposed to mention, but it's the one that I normally do from 1 o'clock after James Whale here on Talk Radio. We came up with this idea then, and it was called Feed the Homeless with a Hound. And it was a great campaign, and we seemed to get the entire nation behind us on this. Even homeless folk calling us up saying, it's a great idea. People living in doorways, freezing cold. And there are dogs around the corner that are being humanely put down because they're not wanted. Now, isn't there a correlation between the two somewhere along the line? If somebody knew you were executing loads of cows every day, they'd say, that's stupid. Feed them to homeless folk. Like you get the soup kitchens, you'd have the hound kitchens going around in vans, feeding bits of dog. Feed the homeless with a hound. Why not? Free call 0500 10 53 89. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. And my mouth's still watering at the thought of this crispy aromatic dachshund. Be better than duck. I mean, what's a duck? Got a choice between a dachshund and a duck. Please. We go to Dundee. Gary, you're on Talk Radio.
Hi.
Hi.
Phone up about this thing about eating dogs.
Mm.
You're a very sick man. I can't believe you're even thinking about that.
Why not?
Well, if someone's to offer you a dog burger, you try to tell me you'd actually eat it.
How long have you been a vegetarian?
Vegetarian? I ain't a vegetarian, but I wouldn't eat dogs, no chance.
Oh, you're not a vegetarian? Oh, so anything but, well, dogs, really.
What?
So baby cows are all right?
Any bother. Dogs are pets.
Baby pigs?
They're not pets. Dogs are
Well, some
pets.
people have pigs as pets.
But they're very sick people.
Why are they sick?
Because pigs are not very good pets. You can't keep a pig in your...
That's arguable as to how much land you've got, isn't it, really? I mean, you wouldn't have one in your bed. Well, you hope you wouldn't, really. But, of course, if you've got enough acreage...
You couldn't keep a pig in your house anyway.
So what's the reason for not eating dog? I mean, if somebody said to you, you're coming out of a pub and you're starving, it's that old sort of kebab feeling, and someone says, here, try a bit of this. What is it? Oh, it's Chihuahua fajitas.
Nah.
You'd sink your teeth in. Yes, you would.
Nah.
You'd put your teeth in there, Gary.
Oh, no, I'd be sick. No way could I eat a dog. That's pets. You don't eat pets.
Are you sure you haven't tried one?
No chance.
And this isn't a bit of a guilt trip here?
No.
Are you sure you haven't actually given it a whirl? Tucked in to some roasted boxer?
Nah, not me.
People have goldfish as pets, don't they? And then they go to the chip shop.
You don't eat goldfish, but...
Well, they eat fish. It's the same thing. It's an animal.
But goldfishes, you don't eat them. They're pets, so nobody eats goldfish. So...
See, you've been fantastic, Gary, probably without realising it, because you've been the best advocate for my argument so far in this programme.
Why is that?
Because you proved there is not a single argument against it.
And why not?
Oh, because you haven't proved one. You haven't actually given me an argument as to why not, other than, oh, no, I couldn't do that. Well, but you don't mind eating a baby cow or a baby pig.
Well, think about it this way. Every other pet there is, you don't eat them. You don't see people eating goldfish. They might eat other kinds of fish, but they don't eat goldfish.
Well, the goldfish should be pretty feeble, wouldn't they? Wouldn't fill you up very much.
For a 3-year-old up.
There's a whole industry out there. There's a whole industry, a multi-million-pound industry. If somebody convinced you that you could put X amount of people back into the workplace through the dog industry, would you go for it?
No. Nobody eats cats either. They're pets.
But if somebody said you could solve the unemployment problem of Dundee with this industry, would you go for it then?
No, it's just too sick.
But it's all right with the pigs and the cows?
They taste good. I don't know what dog tastes like. But...
Apparently it's fantastic. We're going to try and... Thank you for that, Gary, who didn't manage to furnish us with any form of furthering this argument. Free call 0500 10 53 89 in Harrow. Tony, you're on Talk Radio.
Yeah, Ian.
Hi.
I think I've actually floored your argument.
Go on.
Purely on the basis, I don't know if you've ever owned a dog. Have you ever owned a dog?
Well, we had a dog, yeah.
Yeah, how much did it cost you to feed it?
Little Shep. Oh, it was about a tin a day dog.
A tin a day? Well, what's a tin a day?
Well, I don't know what they cost now. I haven't had a dog for
£1
yonks.
a tin, is it? Something like £1 a tin?
It could well be.
Could be £1. So every month, £28. So your dog's going to be worth, after a year before it's ready to, to slaughter, it's going to cost an awful lot of money before you produce that meat.
But not if you had dog farms.
Well, it would. I mean, you've got to feed them. They don't eat grass, do they? They eat meat. So you've got to feed them something in the first instance. You've got to feed them something cheaper than they're going to sell at.
No, you stuff loads of chemicals inside them like they do with all the other animals.
Anything. I mean, I'm quite happy to try anything. I probably have ate dog in the past, probably on several occasions, especially some of the establishments I frequent. But, I think that your argument is flawed on the sheer cost grounds, not on any ethical ground whatsoever.
So it's not about it's a cost. Well, isn't there a way? I mean, certain dogs, they like their biscuits, but they are, I suppose, preferably they're meat eaters, aren't they? They like a bit of meat. So
that's the problem.
Somewhere along the line, we've got to find an efficient way to feed dogs. But of course, if you had farms,
feed them cats, I suppose.
Well, yeah.
Maybe that's the easiest way to solve a couple of problems, really.
Maybe that does solve the problem.
It would, wouldn't it?
Feed cats to dogs. I don't know. So it's an interesting way of looking at it. I'm glad you said it, though, Tony.
No, I'm quite happy to. I've got a couple of cats of my own. I just think my daughter might not like it.
Yeah, that's the problem. It causes slight family problems. Thanks for your call, Tony.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Talk Radio. Free call 0500 10 53 89. The amount of things you could do with a dog. There are the byproducts. There's the fact that it would be safer. Because of the quarantine laws in this country, and they're very, very strict, of course, stricter than any other Western situation. We've got the most disease-free dogs knocking around. I mean, I shudder to think how many dogs are in kennels. I shudder to think how many dogs are not wanted. You know this old baloney about world dogs? Man's best friend. I don't think so. Not in a million years. But for some reason, we've got this big cut of angst against eating a dog. Just eat one. Let's speak to somebody who's tried it. he thinks. In Wiltshire, Martin, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yes, I've eaten dog. My wife comes from the Philippines.
Yes.
And she eats dog all the time. It's very nice. It's a very, very nice thing.
Did you know what sort of dog you were eating?
No, I didn't, because it was all chopped up and it was all ready to be served. So, like, you didn't, unless you knew it was dog, you wouldn't know you were eating dog at all, because it tastes so much like beef.
Could you find a comparison in terms of the taste?
Yeah, beef.
But definitely beef.
Yeah, but between beef and probably I would say venison. It's in between of the two. It's a little bit tangy, but it's nice.
And would you say in the kind of grander scale of things, if you had to list the tasty meat, where would it be up there in the list?
Where would it be up there in the list? Oh, it would be up there with beef and pork and that.
It would?
I prefer dog to pork. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, most definitely.
So there's no reason not to go for this, really?
No reason at all. No, there's no reason at all.
And Martin, I thank you for your call. There we are, from the horse's mouth, as it were. Eating dog, it can happen. So if it happens just to counter the other argument about the cost of it, how we'd address the cost. Well, obviously, all these other nations, whether it's the Philippines, Borneo, Korea, obviously go big on this kind of thing. They managed to do it somehow. Let's eat dog. Western Super Mag. Keith, you're on Talk Radio.
Oh, good evening.
Hello.
Or afternoon, Ian.
Hi.
I suggest we eat greyhound.
Yeah, will it make us run faster?
No, well, it's better meat. They eat the best meat themselves.
Yep.
And once they've finished racing, what do they do with them? Kill them. So why not eat them?
And I guess the meat of a greyhound, I suppose, would be good quality meat, wouldn't it? Because they've exercised all their life.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. It's like prime steak, isn't it?
Of course.
And it would be cheap.
Yeah.
And that would go nice for chips, wouldn't it?
I think the way this thing's going to work is that there'll be different grades of it, of course.
Yes.
You'll have your kind of crossbreed dog, which would be the equivalent of the old kebab shop.
Oh, no thanks.
You know the kind of thing I'm talking about here.
No.
It'll be a crossbreed kebab. So you don't know what's in that thing, but then again, you don't know what's in a kebab either, do you?
You'd have something like a dog on a spittle.
Well, it's part of it, perhaps.
Yeah.
The kind of the visual aspect.
It sounds very nice, but what would you eat with it? Chips or...
Yeah,
salad?
You could eat chips.
Salad, side salad.
There's no reason why dog couldn't be an integral part of the Sunday roast.
Chips, like.
No reason why not at all.
And would chip shops sell it?
Yeah, dog and chips.
Yeah, but, would it have to be specific dogs? Like, you could have, say, poodle or dachshund.
I think that's where we'd have to have a grading system.
Yeah.
Like there are certain parts of certain animals already that we eat that that part's a good part, that part's not so good, that part over there is really good. And we'd have to have it in that same kind of way. So that greyhounds, as you say, would be perhaps the kind of piece de resistance when it came to, there we go with the French expression, when it came to eating dogs. But wouldn't it be fantastic if on a Sunday, if you go to the pub for Sunday lunch, and you go down the Dog and Duck, and you actually eat the dog?
Well, you could watch a race, and if your dog loses, you think, well, I'd sooner eat that than race it. Get something out of it, wouldn't you?
Fantastic.
And you'd save money.
Keith, thanks for your call.
That's okay.
See ya.
Hello.
Talk Radio. It's a free call, 0500 10 53 89. It's a very interesting one, this, because when we said about the office saying, well, what should we do? Let's do the dog issue, because we did kind of wave this one around a little bit on the night programme some weeks ago, and got a lot of response on it, and some people were kind of for or some were against. But the interesting one about this is that there doesn't appear to be a real heavy, rigid argument against it. There doesn't seem to be a set of phrases that you could use that says, well, this is why we shouldn't eat dog, blah, blah, blah. The only reason we don't eat dog is because we're brought up on programmes like, what's that flipping thing called? Lassie. That was beyond belief, wasn't it? If ever a dog needed eating, it was that one. Lassie. And people use them as pets, People have rabbits as pets. But we still eat them. Free call, 0500 10 53 89. And what about feeding the homeless with a hound? Why not? Go around in wagons in the major cities around this country with dogs that ordinarily would have been put to death for no particular reason. Dogs that are just not wanted. If they did that with cows, pigs or sheep, there would be an uproar. Feed those animals to the homeless, people would say. Let's do it with dogs. There's plenty of them. Free call 0500 10 53 89. In Sittingbourne, Karen, you're on Talk Radio.
Oh, hello. I'd just like to say that dogs do a good job in society. They help the deaf and disabled and handicapped, and they're therapeutic to old people in hospitals.
It's a bit patronising, isn't it?
And they do give something to society, whereas I think we could save lots of money if we put down child murderers and people like that are in prison that take all the time and we're paying out to keep them in prison for years, why not put them down and eat them and spend the money that we would have spent on them in prison by training more dogs up to help the handicapped and disabled people and blind and hard of hearing, etc.
Of course, there are working dogs, but, there are working cows. There are working horses. There are probably working frogs somewhere.
Why not put down the people in society that kill people?
But if you're looking at child murderers, who wants to eat a child murderer?
I would. I'd rather eat a human being that killed a child or someone, an old lady, and battered her head to rob her house than some dog that would do something if it was trained properly to help a human being.
You see, I couldn't do. I don't think most people would be able to do that. The principle
I think some dog lovers would be able to do that.
Well, the principle of cannibalism might be a sound one. I don't know. Maybe we can go into that one later this week. Who knows? It could be an area that's worth investigating.
If you put a bit of meat in front of me and said, that's a dog and that's a murderer and he killed a load of children, I'd prefer to eat the human being.
Well, I think technically, isn't there something on the statute books that says cannibalism isn't illegal, but it's illegal to try and exhume a grave, it's illegal to kill someone. So in order to get to the point where you could eat the corpse, you'd have to commit an offence first. That's what's illegal.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, yeah.
Well, but who would, if you knew someone had committed all sorts of horrible murders and that kind of stuff, you wouldn't want to put them in a sandwich, or you wouldn't want anything to do with them. Swallow their genes?
I would rather eat him than an innocent dog that...
No, I tell you what, if I gave you leg of Dulux dog and you were hungry, you'd have your teeth straight into it.
Yeah, but if you were starving yourself and all there was to eat was a human being, you'd eat that too, wouldn't you?
Well, it depends on the human being, or particularly it depends on which part of it. I wouldn't fancy a sausage, that's for sure.
Dashed in the middle of nowhere and all there was another human to eat, a dead person. You'd eat them, wouldn't you? I would. They'd want you to live. So...
Well, it's kind of reference to the film Alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the mountains. Well, I think everybody would if they're in that situation.
But a criminal that never gives anything to society and that goes out and burgles again and just continues and continues...
Yeah, but they've got bad biology, Karen. Bad biology.
At least he would be giving something to society for once in his life.
But they got EBGBs in the system, you see. So you start cooking that kind of stuff and you're going to eat it. You'll get the EBGBs as well.
And I also did think the man did have a point about the food, because you would have to spend a lot out on a dog to make it more nice and meaty.
Well, they manage in Korea.
Yeah, but if you listen to I4 literature they send you, the way they slaughter their dogs in those countries is terrible.
Oh, but that's a slaughtering issue. I wouldn't advocate anything other than a humane method. But in terms of keeping the things alive, obviously someone does it somehow.
Well, I would rather get rid of the murderers and eat them than a poor little dog that is innocent.
You wouldn't eat murderer?
Yes, I would.
They're not conducive with vinegar either. Thanks, Karen.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Talk Radio. It's a free call. 0500 10 53 89. We're talking about eating dog. There are restaurants around this country already that will serve you quite happily. Crocodile, snake, those kind of things. In fact, take ostrich. I couldn't believe it when I was in the supermarket. It's about 3 years ago now, I suppose, and they put the announcements on the tannoy, that nauseating nasal woman, and said, please be aware that ostrich steaks are on special offer. I nearly fell over me trolley. Ostrich steaks, I cried to myself, and they were there. They were selling ostrich steaks, and of course now it's pretty much the norm. Everybody knows there are ostrich steaks. In fact, you can drive through the country in just about any county in the United Kingdom, from the tip of Scotland to the bottom of England, and drive past fields that are full of ostriches. And the first time you see that, that's a very freaky old sight to feast your eyes on. You think, what? What? But of course, these are just like sheep and pigs and cows now. It's part of the food chain. They do it with crocodile, imported, they do it with snakes. I think someone told me once they're trying it with various monkeys, putting them on the menu. But nobody eats dog. The dog, the one creature we have in abundance, the one creature we could probably afford to make a real good living out of and start a whole new industry, we don't do, because it's man's best friend, and it's not right to slaughter little old Mojo. We're not talking about taking people's pets away here. We're talking about the real industry of eating dog. It helped farmers out as well. They have to diversify to survive. Euro regulations, you know. Free call 0500 10 53 89. In London, Andrew, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello there. I've got a few points to make. One is about the you're saying about fish and chip shop. Where do we get the name hot dog from?
Yeah, you see, I think someone suspiciously must have done it once.
Right, and then you said about a dog farm. What would we feed them? Well, we seem to be managing to feed them like cows. We feed them dead corpses of cows and whatnots.
Trouble there is that we might run into that old kind of CJD syndrome again.
Well, until that arises, they could...
or BSE, should I say.
Years. And personally, I wouldn't eat a dog if somebody told me it was a dog, right? Because, A, I've got a dog.
What sort of dog have you got?
It's a Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a little nutter, to be quite honest, but anyway.
Don't you think the claws of dogs would make good back scratchers?
Well, we use rabbits' feet and whatnots, I've seen.
That's exactly it.
And the thing is, though, is that because the dog's a domestic animal and we take it out for walks, and, you'd be walking down the street with your dog, and then you're going to be someone's looking at your dog. You don't know whether they're looking at your dog because it's a nice-looking dog or whether they fancy it for dinner.
Well, they're not going to hijack it, are they? I mean, this isn't 101 Dalmatians. There's not going to be a guy with a big net round the corner, is there?
Yeah, but you know there's...
Cruella wants your dog.
Yeah, but there's people out there stealing dogs for rewards, but you never know. They might be nicking the dog for food.
Well, I'd like to think we're not actually hungry enough as a nation to start eyeing up folks' pooches.
But you said if we had the greyhound, it'd be good meat.
I can see the greyhound as a bit of a delicacy, yeah.
So imagine if someone's gone up the shops, tied their dog outside, 5 minutes later they come back out, the dog's gone.
Yeah, well, we're talking about setting up a huge government department here, so there'd have to be licences and folk would have to be allowed to trade under certain names and rules and regulations like they are any kind of dog. I mean, as it stands at the moment, nothing to stop you on a cold, dark night, stopping outside a field, loading a couple of old cows into the back of your car and knitting down the local butchers and saying, here, I've got 2 cows for you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you're saying we eat cows, and I'm sure if everyone had a pet cow and used to take it round the walk to have a little plop on the road and whatever, we'd see cows as look at cows and sheep and whatnot in a different respect, wouldn't we?
Mm. The only thank you for that, Andrew. The only reason over the years people haven't or have restricted themselves and stopped themselves eating certain animals, and you can look at various religions where they won't eat pig or cow, and I'm sure if you went into it, there were other religions that refused to eat a certain animal, is because there were times, yonks back, when those animals were in short supply or they were needed in other areas to work or for the fat of the land, and that kind of stuff hijacked by religion some years later becomes the norm, and it's all under the umbrella, under the guise of a religious belief. We don't eat this animal because our God, our good book says so. But of course, yonks before that, the reason they didn't eat those kind of animals were purely pragmatic reasons. It was not looked at as good practice to eat the ox that's going to plough your land. That's why they wouldn't eat the thing. No other reason. Of course, now we're in a situation where we haven't got a shortage of dogs. We don't require dogs to do any work. Dogs are just aesthetic beasts. You look at them and everyone comes around and says, oh, isn't he lovely? And they stroke him and they roll over and they have their belly rubbed and then they start wanting to do things to your leg and stuff. We've all seen it. Good reasons to eat dog. Can you think of good reasons not to? Free call 0500 10.
Free call 0500 1053 89.
The moment we hung up, I called you back.
Talk Radio, it's, what's it, a Monday afternoon or something? Just kickstart this darn week into play. Ian Collins in for Tommy Boyd for the rest of this week, doing and encompassing all those kind of Boydy type subjects, as per my memo from the boss. Thank you to Mr. Jones, who faxes and says, I think you'll find that the law was changed prior to the last election. The UK is one of the few places it is legal not only to eat it, but sell it as well. Regards, woof woof, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Dylan song, wasn't it? Ballad of a Tall Man or something. Thin Man. Thank you to Merlin as well. Thank you to Liz. Free call 0500 1053 89. If you're hanging on, don't go away. Let's go to Dagenham. Paul, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Right, I've actually eaten a wild dog, actually. Well, we called it wild. It was a mongrel.
Oh, yes.
And we couldn't train it or anything. We was going to have to put it down anyway.
Yeah.
But a couple on the land where we was like on a field, like the Jippos and that, actually killed it and they stripped it, but I didn't actually watch that because I couldn't eat it if I watched it. So they stripped it all and, pulled its skin off and whatever, and they baked it.
Baked it?
Yeah, baked it on a thing.
Well, your gypsy loves a bit of dog,
Yeah, and we had it with roast potatoes and things, and it was absolutely beautiful. It really was.
That's very good. I mean, you couldn't have the argument with an authentic travelling gypsy that eating dog is wrong because, they've
been doing it for centuries.
Absolutely. These people eat hedgehog as well.
I've had hedgehog as well. What you do, you strip that and you put it in the silver foil and bake it. And when you unwrap it, all its spines all come into the clay sort of thing.
Yeah,
and all you're left with is a lump, and it's just like pork.
At least you get a free bag of toothpicks with it, don't you?
Oh, yeah, it's just like pork. You put that in a bit of pastry, you've got a lovely pork pie.
Beautiful. Paul, thank you for that. Free call, 0500 10 53 89. If you are hanging on, don't go away. Let's just get over here to Myrette in Strood. Myrette, you're on Talk Radio.
Hi, after listening to your last chat, I wonder that I should bother, because are you a wind-up merchant or something, or is this really a serious conversation about eating dogs?
It's a very serious conversation.
It is, and I suppose bear baiting and, let me think, the last man that spoke, he sounded like the sort of chap that really ought to be sent off to Australia, you know, on the gallows for having sort of stolen something. I mean, how can anybody be so ignorant as to consider eating dog? Only backward countries eat dog, such as Korea.
Based on, well, I'm sure that's a huge libel on the Korean nation, but of course, in this country, we quite happily munch on cows and pigs.
Well, actually, I don't munch on cow, but there you go. I should.
You're a vegetarian, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's great, and you're consistent, and I wouldn't criticise you for that. But of course, if someone's going to eat meat, they can't be selective, can they? And say, well, I'm going to eat this bit, but not that bit.
But there again, you don't have a cow sitting on the end of your bed. You don't have a cow that goes out and is a pat dog. You don't have a sheep that helps people who are deaf, or you don't have a pig. Well, you could actually have a pig because pigs are highly intelligent, but a dog is...
Well, some people do. I knew a blind person who had a guide cow.
Oh, did you? Well, I hope she didn't eat it.
What? No. The thing walked around with it, you know.
Well, I mean to say, then again, at the end of the day, you could eat it, couldn't you?
It says
really?
here you're the chairman of the Southern Shih Tzu Rescue.
Yes, I believe you were discussing Shih Tzu pie.
What the heck's that thing?
Well, I don't know. You discussed Shih Tzu pie.
No, the Southern Shih Tzu Rescue.
It's a dog.
No,
what is the
Southern Shih Tzu Rescue, yeah.
Well, we, help rescue animals, dogs, Shih Tzu dogs that are requiring a new home, because obviously people like the person that likes baked hedgehog and what have you.
Yes.
Can't, buys them, they look pretty, but he can't be bothered to eat it, so he probably just dumps it, But, I mean, in a nation that we're supposed to be looking forward, one doesn't talk about eating one's companion, somebody that gives you love and affection and does worthwhile jobs. You don't really consider eating it. I mean, not if you're sort of humane and a caring, understanding individual.
So if you get a Jack Russell come your way, you tell it where to go, do you?
No. If I have a Jack Russell, in fact, I actually rescued a Jack Russell. So it doesn't matter what the breed of dog is one tries to help. It's just that we specialise in one particular breed. But if somebody rang me with any sort of dog, I would put them in touch with the right people who would then rehome them or help them or advise them or whatever.
Yes. Are all your family into this same anti-meat thing?
Anti-what? Sorry?
Meat.
Anti-eats meat. No, my husband eats meat. My mother eats meat.
So why can't he eat dog, for goodness sake?
He wouldn't consider eating a dog.
Why not?
He wouldn't eat veal.
But why not?
Well, one thing is it's a sentient thing. It's something that is intelligent. It's something that is loyal and loving. And most people, I mean, this is not really serious. I can't imagine that people that ring up and sort of actually are in agreement with eating dog. I mean,
you're about the first person that's really disagreed with it.
Well, probably. Actually, somebody rang me about this programme. I could only assume that your radio programme and the people that ring you up, on the whole, don't seem very level-headed. I mean, it's just...
Well, no, it's not that they're level-headed. They've correctly identified that it's
sentimental.
They've correctly identified that it's man's divine right to eat meat, and if you're going to eat it...
No,
it is. I'm sorry, it is.
No, it is not. It's actually said in the Bible...
Well, I don't read the Bible, so
it was pointed out to me by a vicar that in actual fact that what is in the Bible is that man was put on the earth to look out for the animals.
Well, that's great if you follow the Bible. We can't really quote the Bible because a lot of folk don't follow it. So that's
no, but you just quoted at me that it's man's divine right. When you mention divine, you're talking about God. So therefore,
I didn't talk about the Bible. Divinity doesn't refer to Christianity.
Well, no, but it actually you're talking about a belief, a religion as such, and very few actually, say eating dog is great.
Yes, well, I think that as human beings who have a certain capacity to rule on this planet, I don't think we're really doing too much wrong in order to have a bit of a munch.
Oh, I see. We do. Oh, well, I mean to say there are cannibals. I mean, there were people that ate people. I suppose they felt they had the divine right. They assumed that by eating their person that they took upon them their power and their ways. I mean, there are things that have happened all through our history that aren't particularly nice, and one hopes that you progress on and that you become more aware and more understanding and more
hopefully we will progress to dog burgers.
I think you're just trying to wind me up.
We've done it with cows, we've done it with pigs.
And hopefully we won't do it with dogs.
Mirette, it's nice talking to you.
And you,
See you later. Bye-bye. That's Mirette in Strood, who's the chairman of the Southern Shih Tzu Rescue.
What you're about to hear is true. Andy Duffield has always worked on the Norfolk Broads. Now he wants to use a computer to teach others to sail. Relaxing holiday.
But before you book your holiday insurance, speak to Travel Benefit Services and make sure this year's break will be too good to be true.
Travel Benefit Services offers you low-price holiday insurance.
Get a year's travel insurance from just £59.
Cover for the whole year, no matter where or how often you travel. Ring now, and you'll also get free accommodation in a UK hotel for up to 12 days. Pay for breakfast and dinner.
And £100 voucher towards a package holiday abroad when you book with us. A year's travel insurance from just £59.
Too good to be true? Phone Travel Benefit Services now to save pounds on holiday insurance.
Phone now. 0800 7311 911. 0800 7311 911.
IT for All gives everyone the chance to try a computer. Call 0800 456 567. That's 0800 456 567.
Talk Radio, the nation's interactive station. Free call 0500 1053 89.
Bit of a sad old world when we've got to sit around considering the idea of munching on lettuce leaves for the rest of our lives when there's perfectly good animals out there to eat. Let's go to Exeter. Lindsay, you're on Talk Radio.
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
There was just one aspect that I think you haven't explored, and that's the fact that dogs are meat eaters themselves, and all the animals that we eat tend to be vegetarians. Well, they're supposed to be, aren't they? That's why we've got so much trouble with beef at the moment, because they were fed meat products. And so I think there might be a taste issue here that, perhaps we might not like the taste of animals that have actually been fed on meat.
Yeah, supposedly people... Oh, sorry to interject. I was going to say, supposedly people who've eaten seagull have said that it tastes like cod, because the seagull has done nothing but eat fish all its life.
Yes.
Mind you, who'd want to eat seagull? Yeah.
That's right. And
dirty
I think
beast.
Chickens that are fed on fish byproducts tend to taste a bit fishy and things like that. And
have you got a moral adversity to eating dog?
Well, I haven't really. It's just I have actually eaten dog once. Many years ago in Hong Kong, I was invited to a very special dinner. I mean, it was illegal in Hong Kong at that time as well, but we were invited by a village family, and it was a very special occasion. It would have been rude on my part not to have tasted it, but it wasn't just some old dog that they'd dragged off the street. You know, they'd been spending months kind of feeding the dog up, like I suppose in past times in England when people all had their own pigs, they would feed the pig, all the leftover vegetables and stuff from the household.
You don't know what kind of dog it was?
I can't remember. In Hong Kong and China, I believe there is a certain type of dog that they particularly use. I don't think it's just any old dog, but I can't remember the make.
It's only a matter of time before the supermarkets are loaded with this stuff, Lindsay.
Do you think so? I don't know if I'd be able to eat it myself, because I think I just get that kind of heebie-jeebie feeling.
But could you eat ostrich?
I've never tried it. I think I'd be willing to have a go, but it just seems to me that we're so hypocritical. People bring up these arguments about, if we eat beef and pork, then why shouldn't we eat dog? And I think it's just more of an emotional issue. I think, perhaps years ago when people had small farms and perhaps, they'd been rearing a pig or a cow and eventually it came to the time to kill it, I think they would have felt some, it wouldn't have been just totally easy for them to go and kill that cow, but on the other hand, they would have made sure that it was killed as humanely as they were able, because they were actually there, in front of the animal as it was dying, as it were.
Good point.
So,
Lindsay, thank you for that. That was great monologue. Thanks for your call. Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye. Talk Radio, free call 0500 1053 89. Paul's in Pontefract. Paul, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Paul.
Yes, mate. Few points. The only people that agree with you on this programme have been Karen and Myrette. I've been a vegetarian for 10 years, on a moral standpoint.
Yeah.
Why should I eat a creature that's got a central nervous system, can feel fear?
Well, if you're a vegetarian, you're not going to want to, are you? And that's fair enough.
No.
But if you're not a veggie, then you must see, as a vegetarian, you probably see it more than I do, the amount of hypocrisy involved in the process where we are willing to eat a cow, but not a dog. And people say, oh, no, you couldn't do that to that, but I could eat this. You must have had that argument with people in pubs all your life.
Yes, precisely. We adopted dogs. They didn't choose us. we domesticated wolves, which is the basis for all domestic dogs.
There was a time we would have eaten them, though.
Yeah, not now.
And the amount of byproducts we'd have got out of a dog doesn't bear thinking about. It's a multi-million-pound industry.
It's down to money again.
Think of the dentures for old folk you could get out of dogs' teeth.
Go to the Millennium Fund.
Go where you like, really, couldn't it?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Paul, for that free call. 0500 10 53 89. Let them eat dog, they say. Coventry, Tom, you're on Talk Radio. Hello, Tom? Tom, I believe, was going to say, he's gone. Tom was going to say that he's a Romany gypsy and never in all his born days has he heard of anybody eating some dog, apparently. Thank you for that. Let's go over here to Kerry in Colchester. Kerry, you're on Talk Radio.
Hi.
Hi.
There's a couple of points I wanted to make. One, everyone keeps ringing up saying that I'm actually a vegetarian, so I think it's wrong to eat any meat. But I think if you are going to eat meat, you can't discriminate. And people are ringing up saying, oh, well, dogs are pets and that kind of thing. They were only made pets because they were seen to be a bit more attractive or appealing than a cow. But
it's a status symbol, isn't it?
Yeah, they wouldn't be your pet though if you were going to eat it. Nobody's asking people to eat their own pet.
Sure.
It would be if it was legal, they would be bred in the same conditions as cows or pigs. So they wouldn't be your pets at all. It would just be another type of meat. It would be you'd still have them in slaughterhouses.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.